We're blessed. That really wakes us up. Oh, I lost my stars. Can I have my stars back? Thank you. Oh, they're the stars. Good. You know, as we started this month, nature is sacred. And showed the picture, the new pictures, this wasn't one of them, but of the James Webb Telescope, where we discovered new galaxies and new stars. And we got to expand our thinking to understand that there are billions of galaxies and billions of stars in this universe. Nature is abundant. Those stars are one outpicturing of God, but those same stars, that aliveness that's there, is alive in us too. That abundance we see in the galaxies and in the stars and in nature, that same abundance is in us. Right now, I don't know what situations you're in, financially, health, relationship, however you feel about your life right now. I'll tell you one thing I know is true. You are abundant. We have to be. Because we are each created out of that abundance of God. Nature is abundant. And nature withholds nothing from us. Nothing. Nature doesn't withhold anything. Spirit doesn't withhold anything. Nature is the self-givingness, the life-givingness of Spirit. It's the manifestation of God's good. And God's will for us is always. 3 people get it. I have not been a very good teacher. I've been a teacher my whole life. We got to try that one more time. And God's will for us is when? Correct. Okay, a little help from my friends, me, but yeah, all the time. So we can stand here in this world that's always wanting to give to us. It's like the mouth of a river, or being here in this abundant flow of goodness. But if we don't put our bucket in the water, if we don't realize and accept that goodness, it passes us by. Because God can only give us that which we recognize and accept. Nature is abundant, and so are you, and so am I. No matter what experiences are going on in our life, those stars show us there's millions of possibilities waiting to be had by us. This is the first page of the Science of Mind textbook. It's page 25 because there are a lot of things before Ernest gets started. But this is page 25, the first page, and he says, "We see abundance in the universe. We cannot count the grains of sand on any single beach. The earth contains untold riches. The very air we breathe is vibrant with power. Why then are humans so weak, poor, and afraid?" That's the big question. We've been given so much. Well, we know why we're weak, poor, and afraid at times, because we're here to be learners. We're here to learn about life, and sometimes, in fact, lately it seems like a lot of the time, we're learning through difficulties and challenges and struggles. We're learning how to rise up out of that. So if I was thinking, which I do that sometimes, what is it that keeps us stuck? You know, what is it that keeps us stuck and limited in our expression of life? And the first thing is what we know about life is a spiral, an evolutionary spiral moving upward. It's circular. And sometimes we get caught in not being in the circulation of life. We get stuck in our ways. We get stuck in our limited thinking. Now, to me, circulation means knowing when to receive. I remember a long time ago, we were down our San Juan Center, and beautiful woman there. I loved her so much. And I'd spend time with her, and she'd always share her little pearls of wisdom. And she said, you know, if you don't take your fair share of the pie, you make somebody else greedy. I've never forgotten that because it was so cute. I think she probably served us pie or something. I can't remember, but it was really sweet. And also, if you take too much pie, you cheat somebody out. But she didn't say that part. But circulation is about knowing when to hold on and when to let go. It's about being in that flow of life, and when to give and when to receive. It's about knowing when we are. It's paying attention to when we are withholding, when we're tight in our receiving and our sharing. When we're holding on to something that we should let go of and we're not being open to something more. And the second thing I thought of, so it's the circulation of life, and the second thing I thought of is a lack of understanding. Too many of us, in fact, all of us at times, look at what's out there and we decide what is true. We look at the appearances of things. And our lack of understanding comes from not being open enough to see beyond appearances, which means we've got to take time and pay attention what we know in our heart and our real mind, and take time to know that no matter what's going on right now, we need to break that habit of feeling, how many of you have ever felt unworthy? And how many of you felt like you didn't deserve something or something? Yeah, we have to break it, because we are here because we're worthy. I had a good discussion with my cat this morning. My cat, Kirk and I get up kind of, there you are, get up kind of early on Sunday mornings, and I was out sitting at the table and doing some work, and cats do whatever they want. Cat comes and lies down right next to my papers, and I just looked at him, and I looked at how alive he is. And those green eyes, he came from a pretty difficult place that we rescued him from, but he's beautiful. And he has all this vibrancy in him, and I was watching him in his cute little, he's a Russian blue, he has little gray paws, and he's just so cute. And then I'm writing, and he starts batting my pen. And it's like he's reminding me what life's all about, Don't be so serious. You got to have some fun. You got to play. You got to do some fun things. And I said, okay, cat, enough of that. And he said, okay. So then he put his head under the runner on the table and came out the other side. I said, okay, either I move or I just start laughing with him. But it's about really being present. Abundance shows up in so many amazing ways. One other thing for me that is really important about this thing called abundance. Nature is abundant, and she's a teacher, and she's beautiful, and she's here to teach us the truths about life, how to live. And there's natural processes that happen in life, natural innate processes that teach us how to live. And we can get so stuck on thinking that abundance is just one thing, instead of realizing that in nature there's cycles. If you and I went into a jungle or a forest, as you were talking about, Mary, and it wasn't maintained by humankind, or wasn't taken care of, we might go in there and go, ew, what a mess. There's stuff decaying on the ground, and there's things overgrown, things aren't, what's going on here? That's a process of nature. The growth, the blossoming, the death, decay, and renewal that happens. So in our life, when we hit those rough spots in life, it may be a low bank account, it may be a difficult relationship, it may be a health issue, we can decide that we just are not abundant. Life isn't for us, when that's not the truth. God's will for us is always, but we're here to learn. We're here to learn. We never signed a paper that said it's going to be easy. We signed up in consciousness that we are here to grow and to become. I know for myself, my greatest learning has come from the hardships and the difficulties in life. That's where I've learned the most about God, about love, about working hard, about listening to my intuition. I've learned the most from that. But there's one other thing I learned, which I think is one of the attributes of a prosperous, abundant person. and it is resilience. If you don't have resilience, it's going to be much harder to live an abundant, prosperous life. So many people have spoken about resilience, and I know Brené Brown, one of my favorite new teachers, in her book, The Gift of Imperfection, she talks about resilience. I want to share some of the different things people say about resilience. She said, resilience is when people face struggle and stress and challenges and trauma and difficulty, and they're able to bounce back. It doesn't mean they don't hurt. It doesn't mean they don't cry. It doesn't mean there's not sadness and hardship, but it means they bounce back and remember, oh yes, I'm here to be alive. And there's more possibilities and more choices, more stars that I can depend on. She said resilience is developing hope. We'd probably say trust in life, and I'll talk about that in a minute. She says combating societal expectations that everything is supposed to be perfect. Everything is supposed to be great all the time. She said it's about refusing to numb negative emotions and embracing spirituality, always knowing there's something more. Always knowing that. There was a cute quote by my dear friend Rumi. What is planted in each person's soul, the truth of who we are, our divine nature, will always sprout. But we must surrender to how it happens. Things don't always happen the way we expect them to. We must surrender to that. Kirk and I saw a cute movie this week, not for everybody, but it's really cute, about a girl's life who it's look both ways, and how her life goes two different ways, but it ends up with the same gifts being shared and given in two different ways. And it's so true. Our life can unfold in many different ways, but we have a gift there that will show up, a goodness that's going to come out if we follow whatever path we seem to take at the time. I also looked at the Mayo Clinic. Now, the Mayo Clinic has a class in resilience, and it has a whole list of things. It says, we have a class in resilience to help recover quickly from stress, adversity, trauma, and tragedy. And if you don't have resilience, if you don't learn how to become resilient, you get stuck in the problems, you feel overwhelmed, you use unhealthy coping tactics and feel anxiety and depression. I think I better join the class. No, she said, get connected. Make every day meaningful. If it's one thing you do that's meaningful, make sure you do that. Learn from experience, remain hopeful, take care of yourself, and be proactive. But I think a thing that surprised me there, and I've been out of education of the little ones for a long time, but there was a link there from the American Psychological Association that talks about how to make children more resilient and what we need to do to help kids during this really tough time. And I decided I want to take their advice for the kids. It's all about self-care, making sure you laugh and play every day and take a nap if you need to. It's about socialization, and it said getting off your screens and devices to connect with children and adults, because that's where true learning takes place. Giving back, it didn't say that from the Mayo Clinic, but this said giving back because teaching kids how to get what it feels like to give to somebody else, to share, makes them better people. Of course. Of course, sleeping and eating properly. And it didn't say this in the adult one either, but this is so important about talking about your feelings. We learned that from our grief group. Not necessarily sharing the experience, but talking about the feelings that are brought up so you know you're not alone. You know that the feelings you have are not just unique to you, that it's a human feeling that we have. We can share those, and we decide what we're going to do, how to use those so we can be better or know better or feel better next time, to know we're not alone. And then this said, positivity. Knowing that no matter what happens, there's always the opportunity to imagine a new possibility, something new going on. I love those. I think that's really beautiful. So I really want you this week to focus on resilience. And if you can't find it, here's what the Talmud said. I think you mentioned the Talmud too, Mary, but every blade of grass has an angel that bends over it and whispers, grow, grow. Life is always for us. That angel is always there pulling us. Sometimes it's so hard. No, I don't want to. I'd rather stay stuck. But it's not the truth. Our better self knows there's something more. And then we have to listen, because that angel spirit is talking to us, but we need to listen. You know, if we trust life, if we trust the process of life, we can know, just as we heard from the amazing teacher, Jesus, seek first the kingdom of heaven. Do your spiritual work first, and everything else will be broader and bigger. We'll know better. We'll know more about life. Seek first the kingdom of spirit. Take time to know and feel the presence of spirit in your life. It's God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. You know, if this week you're feeling that prosperity is being withheld from you for whatever reason, in whatever area, it's a time we open our mind and let go of the way we think it's supposed to happen. Open our mind so we can say, oh, there's something more out there. There's something more. Because just as I said, nature withholds nothing. But imagine, we have to tap into God's bank account. Can you imagine if somebody said to you, I just put $1,000 in your account. And you said, I don't believe it. And the money's there, but you're not? Who loses? Who loses? And that's for us. We need to be able to understand and know there's always something more for us. We just need to be ready and available to accept. I want you to say, I'll say it first, I have abundance because I am abundance. I have abundance because I am abundance. I am worthy. I am capable. I can do it. When? Now. Why? Because I deserve it. Say that. Okay, and let's just seal that right now by knowing in a great big understanding. Just close your eyes for just a minute, just as we know together, we feel. Take a nice deep breath and feel the abundance of life, the goodness of God and Spirit right here in this moment in its fullness. Just feel it as it moves through you. Imagine the stars, the allness of the stars. Imagine that life being present in you right now. Know how deserving you are to good and greater good in this and every moment. As we open our minds to understand there's always something more. It's not once in a while. It's all the time that God's goodness is pulling us, inviting us to grow into greater understanding, grow into greater acceptance, grow into greater love, only because we're here, we're alive, and we deserve to express life in its fullest. I'm going to close with a quote by Ernest Holmes. We are born to be happy, to be abundantly supplied with every good thing. To be abundantly supplied with every good thing, to have fun in learning, in living, as Kat reminded me, to consciously unite with the divine power that is around us, within us, and to grow and expand forever. So the truth I know as I see you today as you leave, filled with the vibrancy of life, open and available to all the good that's present. And of course, as we receive that good, we get to share it and be it and make the light in this world even brighter. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being part of the community in which we get to grow and love and share. God bless you all, and so it is.